actually. That's what he said. Meh.
So he was there when Sumlin was there, right?
Correct.
Okay. Person we probably should be asking is Urban.
Mark Hay
on that one.
Mark. What was his name? Mark Hagan.
Yeah. I have that. That's so right. There's us.
What's up, y'all? Hopefully y'all can hear us okay.
Yeah. They said yeah.
Yeah?
Question mark.
All right, guys. So, National Signing Day. Hopefully everybody can hear me. What's good? Sound good?
What's going on?
Just need to confirm on the sound and we'll get started. I think it's good. I
Sounds
thought
good.
Okay, perfect. So I'll start off here. First off, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. My man John Trent. John's been a little bit.
I know.
We got a lot to catch up on.
It's like I caught the flu and you're like, stay away from
me. Dude. Not gonna lie, I didn't come nowhere near your way.
Not at all.
I saw you at work. I had to give you one of these at work.
All right. Schedule the room and get away from me.
Yeah. So I think you're cured, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, but good day today. I thought, obviously when you get a player the caliber of Alfred Collins to officially sign out of Bastrop, who is, according to 24/7, they have him as 32nd ranked player in the country, five star.
Composite 4, I think so.
Mm-hmm. And then Kelvonte Dixon, who is the brother of Keontae Ingram, committed last night, signs today out of Carthage. So overall, I think we got what we expected in terms of what we've been talking about the last few days. Princely going to Florida, I think I had mentioned that on the video I thought OU and Baylor were, I don't even think OU had a hat on the table, but Princely signing with Florida, and then the other one was Enos Rakestraw Jr., who that was a surprise going to Missouri. I thought, everybody kind of thought he was leaning Alabama. But overall, we're now looking at this defensive line class. Yeah. With Vernon Broughton, who's currently enrolled. Prince Dorba, Sawyer Gordon Welch, who's already enrolled as well. Alfred Collins. So, and that doesn't even bring up the folks that we were excited about coming off last season, like a Tavondre Sweat. Right. So overall, I always told you the quickest path to that playoff, to the national, is through those lines. So just give me your thoughts on this class and anything you had leading up to today.
So we all knew it was going to be a small class, just because of how many we took the last two classes, and we haven't really had that much attrition. Honestly, we haven't. We've had a few people join the transfer portal, but from that standpoint, we were thinking about anywhere between 18 and 21 players. Actually
19.
I think we ended up with 19, and we got a couple of preferred walk-ons as well. The thing that I was actually really surprised about were all the whiffs that we had. One of the things that we talked about at the beginning of the season was, hey, if you have the ability to go and get that player, that's when Texas is back. When we can walk into that house and, hey, we got that name signed on the piece of paper. And we had a lot of whiffs. People that we should have had. We even had Princely.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, well,
I know you're still upset about Ringo.
Yeah, of course I'm upset about Ringo because I think he is a lockdown corner that we could just say we just throw him out there and just say, hey, you got the best guy, you just shade him, and then we can play everyone else.
By the way, Georgia, I think, had the number 1 overall class in the 24.
Yeah, but towards the end of the process, we all knew that he was going to Georgia, and it all has to do with us not putting talent in the NFL. first top 3 round talents in the NFL. It's, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and undrafted.
Malcolm Brown's still the last one to be a first-round pick in the NFL. So, no, I mean, you have a fantastic point there. I mean, I can't debate that.
Yeah, but I mean, for what we have, I mean, like we said, it's going to be a small class. I think we got a lot of good players out there, players that can make a team, players that can be added on to the top 3 class last year, added on with this year, with all those kids getting experience playing last year. It's something that you could actually start reloading where if people actually leave early, hey, you have someone who already has experience coming in. So that's the point of these small classes. And I think according to 24/7, we had like a 92 rating roughly of the average rating for the.
And they finished 9th in the country. Like when it comes to the team rating stuff, Tom Herman has, since the transition class in 2017, he's been number 1 in Big 12 recruiting
every single year.
They had, I think, the number 7 class, the number 3 class, but then it was the Brew McCoy thing. So, and then this year we're finishing at 9. So in terms of the analysts out there who are evaluating the talent at high school football level, they're saying Texas is getting top 10 talent, right? So to your point, it's really about the development. Because the other folks that you see on that list, not everybody's making the playoffs, but they've been successful.
Yes.
Right? So can that manifest itself into what we saw with Texas last year, where that's now the bar, the new bar, right? Where we're competing year in, year out in the Big 12 championship game for real playoff spots. And to be mentioned, look at this: Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, Ohio State. A&M had a good haul this year.
All of those have played in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Of the top 4.
Of the top 5. In the
Top
last 2
5,
years,
yeah.
all of them have played
From
in the
Georgia,
playoffs.
from Georgia through Ohio State. It's been, now Texas A&M and Auburn and Florida haven't made it, but of those top 5, you're absolutely right. They've all been in the playoffs. So the difference is they're developing talent. Hey, Jeffrey, thank you for the donation, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you. He's been a long-time supporter of us. I just think, I'm just excited about the defensive line. I understand your point about the whiffs is heard, and you're right. But where they did hit, they really did, and I saw Eric Nolan tweet about this today. They had to give Vernon Broughton, they had to get Alfred Collins.
And they did.
And
And
and credit to Oscar Giles. He came through. I know a lot of people before were critical of him as a recruiter. Those questions have been laid to rest, right? And even going into 2021, some of the things that are coming on the way there, that has an opportunity to be a historic class for Texas. So the momentum's there. I was also impressed. I want to give a shout out to the new staff that did a good job down the stretch between the time they came on board through February. Jay Valai, he made things really, really interesting with Enos Rakestraw Jr., who was tweeting pictures of them FaceTiming together the night before. And you've heard other high school coaches
talk about another whiff that I think we messed up on completely.
Yeah, and I saw some of y'all talking about Enos in the chat earlier about how late we offered him, and behind closed doors we kind of told him to wait. We were still in bed with Joshua Eaton. We were still there with Ethan Pouncey, and meanwhile he's shutting down 5-star dudes every single week. You know what I mean? And
I think I saw a stat in the playoffs. He was tested, I think, as many times as he was tested, he didn't have a reception or a touchdown reception on him or anything like that. Which that's the type of.
I don't think he gave up a touchdown. I don't think he gave up a touchdown.
I mean, that's the type of player that you want. A guy who can play the ball and deny people scoring. So especially in the Big 12.
And no doubt he was a late bloomer. And that plays into it. And when you're not around the camp circuit, and some of y'all that are in.
Who's the safety that we whiffed on from Duncanville too?
Chris Thompson.
Yeah, Chris Thompson.
Yeah, that went to Auburn. Yeah. So, no, I'm very, very appreciative of that. No, Tracy, we do need to thank our sponsor. Thank you for the quick commercial break. We were so excited. We just got into talking about Texas sports. But shout out to Boss's Ranch. We do have them up here. Phenomenal product, guys. Happy signing day. Cheers
Cold
to
produce.
Cold produce, HEB, Central Texas.
I've had many people ask me. I've looked for it. Cold produce. Go to the cold produce. And that's where it's at.
Brandon Offerman with the donation. We appreciate you, brother. Hook 'em. Thank you. Though, by the way, those donations that get made to the channel, we invest here in trying to get sound and helping out Matthew, and ultimately investing in better equipment, myself learning tools, how to edit, develop, so we can come to y'all with an even better product. So thank you for those who are supporting the channel. Let's get into some comments, man. Anything interesting? I think your comments are...
What do you think of the stadium, Reno? I mean, I drove by it coming back from San Antonio this past weekend. I just saw a bunch of just a bunch of what are those things called? The
What, cranes?
yeah,
what?
cranes. Thank you. The giant industrial cranes. I haven't looked online. I know they have it online, but I don't know where they're at this point.
Joshua Stevenson, welcome to the channel. Hook 'em, brother. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Michael, we do need Rage Cactus in here. Somebody hit him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to see, what do y'all why do everybody keeps asking about Evans? Evans is not signed. So Zachary Evans, that is. So he, to my knowledge, there's some sort of loophole where you can't sign 2 LOIs twice in one recruiting cycle. So I think he can just pick a school and enroll, from what I've heard. I don't know if that's true. Somebody can confirm. But I know it sounds like he's going to be taking visits now through March. And if that's the case, he really does have a lot of time, because if he's not enrolling in the spring, which would have already happened, then you don't have to enroll until the summer. So it's interesting. It's good on everything, Corey. It's good on everything. Tracy said he gonna mess around and end up at Tarleton State. Hey, shout out to my cousin, just graduated from up there. So shout out to Tarleton State.
See him on Second Chance U.
Isn't that what, Stephenville? Yeah, I mean.
Have we officially given up on men's basketball? I mean, they had a pretty good game against. They played
a good half
against
Kansas
and a good half against LSU. So if they could put it together, I mean,
look, this is signing day chat. I'm not going into UT. I'm not going to go into UT.
Yeah, we don't want to be depressed. We want to be happy.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, now I do want to talk about the strength of this class, because there's 3 areas that I think really stand out to me. We've been talking about the defensive line. And I think I mentioned in a video before that Alfred Collins, especially now that he's officially on board, that could be one of those guys, when you look back at it, like the same type of impact that Ed Oliver had at Houston for Tom Herman, in terms of that win, that signature type of player on the line. And that's no slight to Vernon Broughton and Dorba and all those other guys, right? So the defensive line we've been talking about. The quarterbacks.
Yes.
Hudson Card, Jaquindon Jackson.
Two of the top, 5? In the nation or something like that?
Fantastic, wherever service their rank. I think ESPN actually had Hudson Card to number 2, only behind old boy that went to Alabama, Bryce Young. Yeah, Bryce Young. So, he's been highly regarded. Jaquindon Jackson will be healing up. I don't know how high Jaquindon Jackson would have rose if he doesn't suffer that ACL injury, right? So when you're looking at this and evaluating everything, you have to be thrilled about what you're getting in this quarterback class. And then the other thing that I think is actually a little underrated is we actually got 2 wide receivers. We've been talking, like, Covante Dixon was a stud in the playoffs, and obviously what he did in the state championship game. But Dejon Harrison, right, out of Hutto, that's another one who, and I just wanted to say to that third point, the brother out of Hutto. We get a brother out of Bastrop. We did a very good job here in Central Texas. I know we didn't get Princely, but I was impressed with some of the Central Texas evaluations. Tim Crowder actually talks about this all the time about how much good talent is here in this area that gets overlooked by DFW, gets overlooked by Houston, right? So taking care of what's in your backyard, Hudson Card being from this area, right? So I'm impressed with. Oh yeah, Troy Elmire. I forgot about the third receiver. Thank you, Adam. So and I know the brother. Yeah, I forgot about Troy. My fault. So three receivers in this class, right? And all different types of receivers.
Strength, running back. We got the number one running back in the nation. I mean, and he's a stud. I mean, even in the All-Star games, they don't ever really feature backs. It's more so the quarterback's arms and the wide receivers making plays, honestly. And I know he had a touchdown in the ball in Hawaii. What is it?
The Polynesian ball or something like that.
Polynesian, whatever. But I mean that's a win. We got the number one rated running back in the nation on our team, along with the talent that we currently have there. Just makes the depth even better. So that's one. What about the negatives?
Well, a lot of folks are bringing that up. Tracy Williams just commented on it. So did Hunter King. Losing Quentin Johnston. Since we're talking about the wide receivers, that was tough. Now, you did get Kelvontae Dixon. Quentin Johnston is right there with Demas, right? Like as the top guys. So that was like a flip like the night before. So that's tough. Ringo, the corners. To me, the thing I look at with the class even bigger than because I still get 3 receivers. So as much as the Quentin Johnston thing hurt, I still get 3 receivers in this class. I don't get any outside corners though, because I'm looking at Keaton Crawford as a nickel.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then they didn't have a backup plan once they lost Eaton. The backup plan was Rakestraw, and that fell through. So, I don't know.
So maybe they also think that they're kind of loaded at the corner position because they do have they do.
I mean, they still have
right
Watson. Now. Yeah, they have Watson from last year who will compete for a starting role.
I'm gonna say linebackers. I mean, we got one linebacker. I think he was a 2 or 3 star.
Jalen Ford.
Those 2 and 3 stars I'm not knocking that. Don't get me wrong, but the fact of the matter is, you'd like to see 2 to 3 linebackers, especially when you're kind of light at that. Yeah. I mean, we have the starting 3 that we've talked about with Jawan Mitchell coming back.
Right. But overall, it's that was a tough miss, and especially now Jawan. That's why the Jawan Mitchell thing was so big for him to come back.
Yeah, we talked about that. We've been texting back and forth. It's like, hey, we needed that honestly.
But in terms of the long-term ramifications of this, it puts a lot of pressure on David Benda. It puts a lot of pressure on Marcus. Like they have to hit on these players now. There's no more margin of error. Like right now on the defensive line, the beauty of it is, because let's be real, not everybody's going to hit, right? Some people are going to have issues with grades. Some people are going to have issues with injuries. Some people are going to have issues with women or men, whatever, right? So
some people are just going to go nuts because of the new freedom that they have. Yeah.
So some people just aren't going to live up to the pressures of Texas. It happens. They do everything right and doesn't work out. And that's where you also have the other guys who we don't talk about, and then all of a sudden they pop up out of nowhere. Like the brother Hullaby, who I don't even know what the hell position he's going to play. They might move him to linebacker. I've heard murmurs about that. So, I mean, it's very, very interesting. That's why with recruiting, though, going back to these rankings, the teams in the top, you talked about the top 5 all being playoff teams. It's because they've built up a whole bunch of margins. So if they miss on 1 or 2 players, they still have a whole bunch, right? And so I feel like that's what we got with the defensive line at least. And look, we're not going to hit every single position.
And defensive line can also make cover corners. You know what I'm saying? You saw what the 49ers did. I mean, yeah, they have talent at cornerbacks. Don't get me wrong. They're NFL talent. But are they the best talent in the NFL? Are they the best secondary in the NFL? Do you think?
No.
I wouldn't even put them in the top
No.
five
No.
at all.
No.
It's that defensive line putting pressure on the quarterback. It makes life a lot easier on a corner when the D line is just owning.
So the other thing we want to talk about, because we've been talking a lot about Alfred Collins right now, and you brought up Bijan earlier. How do you see the running back room playing, just off the top of your head right now? And I know it's early, and I know Bijan's not an early enrollee, so it's really going to be Keontae and whatever they really decide to do with
Roshan.
Well, I assume Roshan will start off in the quarterback room, but Jordan Whittington as well.
I've seen him out there actually getting some reps, which is good, which is pretty good. Honestly, I think Roshan's earned the right to decide what he wants to do. Personally, I think he does. I think he was completely a team player. They said, "Hey, we need you to tote the rock." He's like, "Okay, cool." Went and did it. We still have a lot to see with Jordan Whittington. I hope he's not an injury case because of the usage rate when he was in high school. I mean, you can't keep a 5-star off the field, especially if you're trying to recruit the top end players.
I see Jordan Whittington in a Curtis Samuel type of role.
Okay.
Where I do want him to get that volume of touches. Even for those of you who watch the Super Bowl, the way the 49ers are using Deebo Samuel and a variation of that, right? Where it's a lot of jet sweeps, a lot of different ways to get. The point is, how do we get Deebo the ball in space? How do we get Jordan Whittington the ball in space? That's the concept, right? Sometimes, depending on the opponent, it may be out of the backfield with outside zone. Some weeks it may be you in the slot, getting a mismatch on a backer or something.
The thing is, Mike Yurcich definitely does have that experience of getting his athletes into space and getting them the ball, which that's not what I'm hoping he's bringing.
Right.
Right. At least get him 3 or 4 touches a game.
And here's the thing. If the coaching and the player development improves and the scheme is a little bit more creative, if you will, then you will maximize all these players. You know what I mean? Like we're yes, I wanted Quentin Johnston. It sucked that he's gone to TCU. But if they develop better, a lot of these players, they can get the best out of some of those folks. You see that at Oklahoma State. When you look at their previous time with James Washington and all those guys. So it's not, I mean, those guys weren't 5-star recruits when they were leading the country in offense.
But they knew what they had. They knew they had an athlete.
So I think if you have that marriage of coaching with the talent that we clearly have, according to all the prognosticators out there where we finished, it should be a recipe for success, right? And I think that's what Tom Herman is envisioning for this program as well. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, just spacing with these receivers, guys, and the folks that we can take advantage of with their skill sets. I totally agree. I see everybody commenting on that here. All right, let's talk about the QB room again.
Okay.
So there was a report that came out this week about Casey Thompson and him. There were other coaches, I guess, at our practices. I don't know who these coaches are. Some of y'all can. I don't know who these. They said we had guest coaches at practices.
I didn't know we had a revolving door where people could come in. And...
I didn't know. I don't know who. But these people apparently were saying, I don't know who they is again, but they were saying that they were so impressed with Casey Thompson behind the scenes and how sharp he was with just grasp of the offense. Accuracy was on point.
Okay.
Obviously, we know about his speed and his running ability. But how do you see that playing out? Do you think there's a possibility? Because I feel like he's entrenched as the number 2. I don't see the only way he can get past is Hudson Card. comes in. And
Jaquindon won't be ready.
He won't be ready, right?
He
So
won't be ready.
if all this, I say all this because Sam Ehlinger remaining healthy, that's 2020.
Yes.
So then 2021, Casey would have 2 years of eligibility, and then you have Jalen Milroe coming in, Hudson Card, Jaquindon Jackson, whatever happens with Roshan Johnson. That's a lot of people putting their bid in to be QB1 at Texas. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Casey Thompson a little bit because Tom Herman, with what I've seen from him in quarterback development, experience does matter in terms of running this offense. And now with them going to the Mike Yurcich scheme too, which is not a complete move away from what Tom wants to do, but just his overall grasp. I'm curious to get your thoughts on how you think this whole quarterback thing will play out.
We always know that Casey Thompson had talent, but we have not yet seen it in game action. And every time when we went to a game and they were blowing out the other team, we were hoping that they'd put in Casey, but let him throw the ball.
Right.
I think we saw one pass, and it was a kind of a throwaway pass.
He threw a few balls in the Rice game because they had the one to Kennedy Lewis.
Yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't a big sample size.
I understand we're blowing them out and you just want to get out, but this is reps. Say Sam takes one hit and he's gone. You're now just going to throw the guy who's never thrown a pass in meaningful minutes. I mean, let the kid play. So that's what I'm looking forward to this year, to see how he can handle the pocket collapsing as opposed to just running.
Especially with like first team O-line in there, because it's hard to ask people to throw when you have all the backups in there
and some of the first and second team receivers as well.
I agree.
So I want to see him. We know he has athleticism for days. We've seen how fast he is. I mean, I want to see if he's able to keep his eyes down the field when he's rolling out and find the guy scrambling. Do the Patrick Mahomes impersonation.
So I want to piggyback on something you just said. Him not getting those enough opportunities you felt like. Now, granted, it's not like we were blowing people out this year left and right, but even in the moments where we pulled away, they would get very conservative.
Just run the ball.
I actually think, and some people look at it like, oh, you're trying to run up the score on your opponent. LSU this year, when Miles Brennan came in the game, he was throwing
the ball. Yep. He was throwing the ball.
They were running their offense.
They were preparing him just in case. What's his name?
They were preparing. It is twofold. I'm preparing you just in case something happens to Joe, and you need to see live bullets now when it's your time, right? Because assuming nobody else sneaks into LSU, it's pretty much going to be Miles Brennan's turn, right? So they even in the playoff game, he was throwing.
Yeah.
And so I look at Bama.
I'm not saying at the goal line, red zone throw it. I'm talking about if you're between the 20s. When you're between the 20s, let him throw the ball.
Right. I'm saying run your offense. I'll give you a even better example. Alabama with Mac Jones. Tua got hurt, but at least Mac Jones, and I know some people try to blame him for the Auburn game, but they put up like 45 points in that game. So it wasn't. I know he threw the pick six, but shit, he played good football. You know what I'm saying? But Mac Jones, every time they were blowing people out to the point where he could come in and get 10 or 12 throws and just get that rhythm and that cadence with the offense. So when he was asked to come in for Tua under crisis, he was ready to play. The live bullets matter.
Yeah. So,
I understand sometimes y'all trying to gas people's stats up for Heisman and all that, but take a look at what some of these other kids or schools are doing. All right, let's see what else we got here. If Jaquindon Jackson was ready, do you think he stays at QB? I think he definitely stays at QB for now. And the reason why I say that is the level of progression he showed his senior year at Duncanville. I wasn't in love with the way he threw the ball, even when he led them to the state the first time they played North Shore. But this past year, especially his deep ball accuracy, I was very, very impressed. He has a gun.
And he's a straight up leader.
He's straight up leader. He has the quarterback mentality, hard-nosed player. And the thing with Jaquindon Jackson is that's the type of person who can become an NFL player with good coaching. Especially the way that the league is going, the way football is going. It's going more to the Jaquindon Jackson types who you can get the mechanics and as a passer and all that stuff trained up.
And
So
he didn't do it in some trash district either.
right, he
Like,
did it
so
6A,
he did it
hardest.
against other D1 athletes, So it's something that a lot of fine tuning and a lot of him getting used to the speed of the college game. But I think that's his natural position. I think that's what they ultimately recruited him for.
But at the same token, you have a guy in Hudson Card who we've seen. I've gotten a chance to see him here in Austin. We've watched him grow up and develop after taking over from Matthew Baldwin, who, by the way, don't sleep on Matthew Baldwin. He's at TCU right now, and he wasn't eligible to play. Now he is. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and wins that job over Dugan. So I'm just putting that out there because Matthew Baldwin's a baller too. However, when Hudson Card took over and moved to quarterback, he's been very, very good at Lake Travis. He's been as good as every other Lake Travis quarterback we've seen outside of Garrett Gilbert probably. But in terms of the efficiency as a passer, dual threat, he gives you all those things as well.
So who's the A&M quarterback? I forgot what his name is.
Haynes King.
Yeah. So his stats are on par with King's stats, but he was also injured for 6 games, too, which is crazy.
He had an injury, and then I think he got a second opinion.
Yeah,
and came back, so showed some toughness as well. But that's also another thing where you look at it, it's a little bit concerning that both quarterbacks have injury issues, and school dealing with. And Sam had
it too. Yeah, injury issues. Sam was out his senior year.
That is true. So. How are we doing on the comments?
Sam is senior 4-year starter with 3. I agree. If we don't make it to the Big 12 championship, this is absolutely a failure year. Once again.
Especially since it's Sam's senior year. Mm-hmm. As long as he's healthy. Oh, thanks, Jeffrey. Yeah, make sure, I guess, hit the like button so we can share this with other folks as we're talking through here. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all being on late. I apologize. We had a lot of life going on today.
Who is the recruit you expect to be the best by graduation, and who will make the most impact next year?
By graduation?
By graduation.
Hopefully it's Bijan. To be the best?
Well, we don't need him to be the best because we actually have depth there.
I'm saying I expect him to be the best player.
I either think Dorba. I think Dorba or Collins. I mean, you want your D line to be one of the best players on the defense, personally, because what's his name? Whittington still has his red shirt. He only played 2 games, so he's basically a freshman. He's got 1 year.
I think he only played 1 game. I think he only played Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, he has his red shirt though, so he technically has 4 years left in him. So him and Bijan are pretty good stable. Those two back to back. So I mean, you don't necessarily need him to be the best.
That's assuming Jordan Whittington stays at running back, though.
True.
We don't know if he's going to stay in the room.
Yeah.
But to your point, and I've seen some folks mention Darian Brown. I don't know how realistic that is. I don't know if he'll ever. And I don't know if I was in his camp if I would want him. I would want him definitely to be around the team, and I don't know his whole medical situation, but we saw the young man from Oklahoma, Grant Calcaterra, retire. We saw our guy, DeGabriel Floyd, retire. So even with Clarence, I don't know if I would ever be able to comfortably.
I mean, even if I think it would just hype the team up though if he came back and he got it to suit up. Honestly, that would mean I think the world to the team.
Yeah.
But to put him up, hitting against other people again with that type of brain injury. Oh. No. I don't think that's realistic. Do you guys think that you're gonna?
Who was the biggest miss that we had in this cycle,
I think,
in your opinion,
I think Johnson.
from Temple?
Mm-hmm. That's that big outside receiver who's athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a
I
huge
know a
miss.
lot of people mention that. Uh, I think the decommits at corner.
Pouncey?
And Eaton.
I think
And
the
not,
Josh Eaton was worse than the Pouncey one because Pouncey, honestly, once we found out his brother was going, we kind of knew that one.
But they didn't backfill it.
No, they didn't.
Ringo, to me, to Tracy's point, Ringo was a big miss, but Ringo to me was always upside, and it makes sense. Like, people in Georgia are already saying, "Oh, Champ Bailey 2.0," like that's what they're like speaking that for him. And so when we have to, I honestly didn't feel like we earned his services.
No, we didn't.
Does that make sense?
We're not the DBU of the early 2000s. If it was, I think we would have had a really good shot at getting him.
A lot of people saying Ringo. Yeah, they're calling him Champ Bailey 2.0 over there in Athens.
Don't you guys think that he's bigger than Champ Bailey?
Well, they're just excited. I mean, right now I don't know if he's bigger than Champ, but
Isn't he 6'3"?
no, he's like 6'1".
But he runs a 4.3.
I mean, he's incredibly, powerful as a corner.
Yeah.
Which is rare at that age. But he also has that balance, and balance is really key. Like you saw that from Stingley this year. That's one of the things that jumped out to me when you watched him at LSU. Was even when he would get knocked off track, he could flip his hit so quickly and be right there in the pocket, yet like within a split second.
So good. He's very good.
But some of his skills, I feel like you can't teach that.
It's just natural instincts.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just gonna get better too.
Jason, Champ is a top 7 corner ever play. He won't be that. Hey, the Georgia Bulldog people, hey, they're moving to a spread offense. And I'm very, very curious to see how that works out with the Wake Forest QB.
Oh, you know who would have been perfect for that? Justin Fields.
Hey, Georgia, I don't want to hear any excuses, though. With all the folks they got now, they got to get the quarter. But now they're going to get Vandegrift, too, in 2021. So, Kirby better win a natty soon.
You better.
With all those folks. Like, who else has loaded up like that for the next 4 years?
Otherwise, he's Mark Rick again. Honestly.
Let's see. Is it safe to say he will not?
Who do we want if Tom Herman is gone?
I do agree with Kurt W. About Omari having little Jordan Humphrey potential. Now they've all, but I'm also, but I'm also
faster, though.
Curious what that position now looks like in a Mike Yurcich offense, if that makes sense. Because I think we will see the return, and I'm trying to speak this into existence from my main man, Mr. Malcolm Epps, the return of a flex tight end. I would love to see that, right? So hopefully we can,
Texas Savage.
Have him
I think we
falling
both
behind.
want Kyle Shanahan if we're talking.
For what?
We're talking dream coaches to replace Tom Herman.
For me that would be the case.
But hopefully, we're actually hoping that Tom Herman's the answer. To tell you the truth, we want to be good, and we want to be good now.
KJ Costello to Mississippi State is a big one. Going Mike Leach, they might throw for another 5,000 yards there, even in the SEC.
Jason Ash is saying Texas over OK State in the Big 12 championship. They have a OU quarterback as third best odds to win the Heisman this year.
Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Well, it's two things. He has more potential and upside than Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. As even just throwing the football. Forget his athleticism. And the second thing is he has the quarterback whisperer, the ultimate one. Mm-hmm. right? Lincoln Riley got, I didn't agree with it, but they got Jalen Hurts to finish second in the Heisman after watching him play. Like, he got kind of exposed in the LSU game, and it's like, damn, if you can coach that guy up, what can you do with the Spencer Rattler, who was the number one quarterback? However, going to the Oklahoma State thing, whoever said it earlier, Oklahoma State is going to be a problem.
Yes. If
I do not think Chuba was going to come
neither
back.
did I. Neither did we. Both were saying, "Oh, I guess he's gone. He's gone." Tylan Wallace, if he comes back, healthy,
Spencer Saunders,
they're scary.
The offensive line is looking decent.
Yeah.
The other brother, I think his name was it Jelani Woods? I forgot. They had a quarterback a while ago that was really big that they moved to tight end. And he's starting tight end too. So it's like what they got going on right now, like this is like their best opportunity, I feel like, on paper, probably since the Brandon Weeden team to win the conference outright. Because even that team where they had the number one offense in 2017, they fell short to OU. OU still won the conference. But they're offensively, they are absolutely loaded. Now they do lose AJ Green on defense and some other guys, but they've never. Their whole thing is we just need to be okay defensively, right? We need to be, find some guys,
Get a couple stops,
get a few
and we'll
stops,
and we'll score on them.
But when you have the Saunders thing, and I said this last year because we were the first Big 12 team to play him, and he was a one, and he might still be in that one read-ish type of thing, but he'll be a lot more confident. It'll be his second year running the offense and running that system. And oh, by the way, I have the best running back in the country behind me, and I have arguably one of the best wide receivers in the country.
Yeah, if he's healthy.
So
if he's healthy. And them calling us to play them in the Big 12 championship, that means we'd play them back-to-back and back-to-back weeks because we play them
we
last
would
game
play
of the
the
season.
last game of the season. Yeah. And I heard that they moved that game to Friday.
Till Friday, yep. One game over there. Top 5 most impactful players besides Sam.
For next year?
Just off the top of my head, Osai, Coburn, Keontae, and
Caden Stearns.
Yeah, I would have to throw Caden Stearns. It has to be a lot of defense because I think our defense has to make that next step.
Yeah, in terms of the experience, talent, that's where it is. Look, I understand Devin Duvernay and Colin Johnson; those guys are gone. I'm looking at Sam Ellinger though to step up as a quarterback and get these young guys up to speed.
Do the Brock Purdy. What I was saying when we were watching the game is like he's gotten to that point where he's now
that
making,
command.
he's making the.
He made other players better.
That's what Sam needs to do. He needs to stop relying on. Well, he didn't have to rely on Colin really that much this year.
Right, but there are times where his guys bailed him out because he did have some great weapons. But he's got to, and I think Sam will make this leap where he has such great command of the offense that he's getting. When I talk about making players better, I'm talking about can you get Jake Smith up to playing in sync confidently with you like you were with Devin.
Sure, you better pick a quarterback for most important.
Jake Smith. They know what you love, man.
Yeah, of course. Jalen Green there. Jalen
Green.
Cook. Jalen Green and Cook. They're number one, A and B.
I mean, look, you still have to Lane's point here. Sam will still have a great receiving core. We liked what we saw from Brennan Eagles this year. And I think with him having an increased volume, hopefully in this new offense, he's even moved around a little bit more. And then I like what I saw from Marcus Washington. I know he didn't get a whole lot of opportunities. The talent's there. I think we're kind of looking at like, well, who's the guy that's going to take the top off the defense? Maybe that can be scheme too, right? Like one of the things I liked about going back to even watching Yurcich and some of their offense and whatnot is kind of letting the defense kind of dictate, when I'm taking my shots and whatnot. And if they can't stop my run and they start committing all these resources, I can scheme stuff up to get people wide open. It doesn't have to be you're just burning people over the top on 9 routes all the time. Yeah. So I think that's something to take into account as well.
I love Kenyatta Watson. Cameron Carter.
He had a good, was it Tech? I think
The pass breakup in the end.
Yeah.
He's had a couple good pass breakups. I think he's long and athletic as a corner. So
Joshua Moore is a great question, man. I have no idea. If anybody has an update on him, I know he was with the team during the bowl game. But I've also heard, I think the last thing I heard about Joshua Moore was he still is not cleared legal wise with the gun stuff. I think there's some pending. Dang. I don't think it's cleared up. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have a real update on Joshua Moore.
Daniel Young already said he's not transferring in the portal.
I hope we find a place for him, like H-back or something.
Does he play special teams?
I don't recall him playing a whole bunch of special teams. I just want to see him.
Yeah, he needs to get some
doing
run.
Stuff. Yeah,
he needs to get some run.
Can somebody give me an update on Joshua Moore?
It's 11 o'clock, man. We're not baked.
Oh yeah, we're not baked. We're just exhausted. It's been a very long day. But it's signing day, so we had to talk. You know. I think Kenyatta Watson has a great opportunity to win a corner job.
Mm-hmm. I think with the new position coaches there, jobs are open.
Because the other thing I've heard too is them flipping, which I kind of agree with when I thought about it a little bit more. The staff may flip Josh Thompson and Anthony Cook, meaning Anthony Cook goes inside.
I like that actually.
And Josh Thompson goes outside.
I actually like that.
I like that too because Josh Thompson, I feel like Anthony Cook just more fluidly with his hips and whatnot. It's easier for him than it was for Josh.
He's got attitude with him. Like he'll jam someone at the line. I honestly think that the only on the defense, the only three jobs that are safe are you could say are Caden Stearns, Osai, and Coburn. I think those are the three that are just locked. You can lock them at those.
I know B.J. Foster will be a starter. We just don't know if it's at linebacker or safety.
Yeah.
I know somewhere Moro Jomo is going to factor into like in terms of people that will get reps. Tavondre Sweat will factor in, but the rest of it,
it's open.
Yeah, absolutely. I did not see the rake. I was on a conference call at work. Yeah, it was snowing today. It was snowing when I drove over here to Tran's house. I did not see the rake straw video or anybody else's. However, from the images I saw, and Weston from BON tweeted this, why were the hats looking like trash up there? Like, they were like, where'd they get these bum-ass hats from, man? Like one of them, the
went to the shittiest lids ever. Lids outlet, be like, hey, you got any of these? I don't care. The cheapest ones. The $5 rack ones.
Like, where did y'all get these hats from? They look terrible. They look terrible. It looked wrinkled, like worn. The hats aren't supposed to look worn.
Just saw people in the crowd be like, hey, can I use that hat real quick?
It's like, well, that's what they got. Nathan, why do you like Overshawn Moore at safety? I
like him at
linebacker.
He's a big kid too, and he has the ability to put on 10 pounds of muscle without sacrificing his speed. He plays the ball well, and he get hit. He can hit, play downhill and make the tackle. He was making plays all over the place from what we saw, and we loved him on the other outside linebacker across from Osai. So I would like him there, and I would like to see B.J. Foster actually at safety.
Adam Turley said Stearns misses tackles like crazy. I'm actually going to defend Caden Stearns here. I actually thought he played very, very well on run support, considering we were asking him to play completely out of position. And I think him playing out of position and playing so much nickel while he was injured the entire season, I think will actually be beneficial for him moving forward.
Watch him when he
and
was
making
healthy.
him elite. Him making elite.
Did you see? He didn't miss any tackles in the Utah game. He that was when he was healthy. So I like him there, and like I said, I think he's been tackling a lot better, and I think he learned a lot of it from Brandon Jones too. So I don't know if he's going to switch over to Brandon Jones' position.
That would be in my mind where I'd like to see him. But again, with new staff and everything and what they want to do, I just think that if I'm them, I'm making Caden Stearns kind of like my field general, because I do think he has decent ball skills or good enough, and let my other guys like a BJ Foster and Overshown just fly, Chris Brown included, right? So, and that's the thing too, we still got people like Chris Altamora. We still got to figure out what we're gonna do with Tyler Owens. Like, there's a lot of pieces that they're gonna have a lot of fun. They're gonna have a lot of fun with these kids, because there's gonna be some really cool things matchup wise within the conference. Like, we've been talking about Oklahoma State and how good they are. However, we have the physical ability defensively to match up with them, right? If we get these guys coached up and playing with some consistency. So I mean, I'm excited for all these pieces, man. Yeah, Cameron, I agree, man. Stearns, and I'm not trying to just say it was only the injuries, but that was a huge part of the to me the drop in his performance. But if you're out there, you're also still going to be evaluated no matter what if you're playing. Texas should have shut down BJ Foster last year. That was a whiff by the staff, in my opinion. I agree with you. I said that after games. The worst, though, with BJ was, and I felt so bad for him, was when they had him out there in the Kansas game, but we had run out of people. When we had, like, Mason Ramirez in the game. 2-minute drill. And, beat, like, the ball... Because we were there and we're watching them like in between the snaps, and I'm like, "Yo, like BJ Foster looks like Weekend at Bernie's, bro."
Yeah, he's just standing.
It's a dead body who they're just like, "Can you just stay over here?
Can you just hold yourself right here?"
It was sad, bro. So I'm glad, the brother got healthier and whatnot.
Spring game prediction on breakout player, probably a wide receiver, honestly.
Why you say that?
Because they just like to throw in a couple plays just to show that they just want to get out of the game safe. It's not really a full on scrimmage. You're not allowed to rush field goals, things like that. You're not allowed to make special team plays. You're not allowed to hit the quarterback, so he's not really gonna feel that full-on pressure, so he can throw the ball whenever he wants.
Our spring game was a disaster last year. Hopefully we get some good weather. I saw they just announced the date.
Man, April 25th.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan.
Look, so Randy asks, is Bijan going to be another Jonathan Gray? Jonathan Gray tore his Achilles.
Yeah. I hope not.
Right, so as long as he doesn't tear it. Jonathan Gray was on his way, as far as I'm concerned.
Wasn't he at 700 yards when he tore his Achilles?
And the other thing, too, with him was he came in the year, I believe it was the year after Malcolm Brown. Mm-hmm. Remember we had the brother Joe, I think his name was Joe Bergeron. They had a little three-headed monster going on. But we didn't have great quarterback play then. It was okay. I think that was between the Case McCoy, David Ash type period, right? So, and it was like Magic Mike Davis was there.
I could have swore they had a. Yeah, you're right. It was the Mike Davis's. Yeah, that's right.
So I say all that. That wasn't a great offense. They were
no.
That wasn't a great. That wasn't a great offense.
No. We did play for a Big 12 championship, but
yeah. But I don't put that on Jonathan. Jonathan Gray's career, and here's the other thing too, and you mentioned this earlier, because he came out with Alito.
Yeah. The usage.
He had the usage rate.
Yeah.
Jonathan Gray's usage rate at Alito, looking back at it, was ridiculous. And it was just like Foreman, and I know he's being a knucklehead right now, Deonta Foreman, but his usage rate at Texas his last year was ridiculous. And what happened? He popped the. I'm a big believer in that personally.
Mm-hmm. And I think NFL players NFL teams are believers in that.
Yes.
What's the guy from Alabama that didn't have a high usage rate that went
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs.
That's why they liked him so much.
What about the A&M running back that led the Williams?
Yeah.
Travion Williams.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He
went to Cincinnati.
But he wasn't drafted high, but he had a very high usage rate.
Dude, look at right now, a lot of these things that are mocked right now, and I don't necessarily agree. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but RB1 that they have, that they're like, who he's going to go in the first round? DeAndre Swift from Georgia. And I know we cranked him twice last year and got the ball out. However, when you look at DeAndre Swift, they're like, he's got low usage rate.
Shared
He
the
averaged
ball
like
with other people.
yeah. He had like averaged like 7 yards a carry because his first year I think Chubb was still there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of meat on the bone. So to
Chubb
speak.
and Sony Michel too.
Nathan Lott, Cedric Benson usage rate at Texas was stupid. Absolutely, it was. And because Cedric looked tired running in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were giving him the ball almost 400 times a season. But people didn't know that then though.
Yeah.
Because even like Eddie George, like
everyone wanted that one bell cow,
right,
as opposed to
right, like
running back by committee.
Even Eddie George, when he was with the Tennessee Titans, I think he had a season where he ran, I think he had like 410 carries or something dumb like that.
Who is this?
Eddie George.
Eddie George, okay.
When he was on Tennessee Titans, and then the very next year he didn't even break 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a guy who was known for taking care of his body. So it's very, very hard to. Some running backs can handle more than others, yes, but overall, it's not a good formula. That's why I like what we got here. That's why I like with Bijan. He got all the yards with very, very minimal carries, right? So that would be the ideal situation. Absolutely, Preston. Rest in peace, Cedric Benson. But he toted the rock for us. Oof.
Realistic goal, Big 12 championship.
Sam Ehlinger's senior year, man.
Yeah.
I keep saying that, but these teams, you look at LSU maximizing on a senior year Joe Burrow after going 10-3 his junior year.
Mm-hmm.
These things matter. I'm not saying, I want to go and win a national championship and compete for the playoffs. But to your earlier point about the recruiting classes and where we've, why we're kind of having what we have now, we did take two big loads in 18 and 19. However, this team is not all the way where it should be from a competing from a playoff perspective because of 16 and 17, right? 16 was Charlie's last class. It was a good class, however, at the time. However, attrition. Mm-hmm. That the bottom of that class fell out, right? And then 17 was the transition year. It was a very, very small class.
Yeah.
So a lot of those guys who'd be like our seniors right now, that's why we don't have that many seniors on this team. If you look at, they came out with the roster matrix the other day. I don't even know if we have 10 seniors total. On our like the bulk of our roster right now is 3 classes down.
Yeah.
Right? So
the Sams, Cosme and Ehlinger, who else? I can't think.
No, Cosme's
a senior.
He's a redshirt. He redshirted though a year.
So he's technically a senior, but by redshirting rules.
Josh Thompson was 2017. So about to fall off the chair. All right, we're gonna go for a few more minutes. Matthew, leave it. He said,
"What's up?"
Randy Tran loves Dwayne Aquina.
Huge Aquina fan.
Preston, are you asking when you say rank the class? Are you asking for uh, a class grade, or you? What are we? What are we asking here? No, I don't want to see Tom Herman headbutting defensive linemen. I think he's learned from that. Just like I don't want him.
But he used to
swinging.
do that in Houston and in Ohio State,
I
but
don't
no one
need-
has film of it.
I don't need to see Tom swinging a hammer.
Oh god.
I don't need to see
You're
Tom.
playing virtual reality.
You know,
Just I want to see you
know where the camera's
coach.
at.
Yeah, I just want to see
You
you
know.
coach.
Just a little bit more self-awareness. Other than that, though, I will say this: Tom is doing. There's very little I can be. There's very little I can be critical of with Tom. Oh, we haven't talked about the rumored 10th coach,
The
D-line coach. I believe his name is Mark Hagan from. I think he's the co-DC right now at Indiana, who will be coming on board after today. Well, soon, because we have to get Brian Carrington off the road now if Hagan comes in. What was the text I got from Brandon? Because he was at A&M. The hell did I do with my phone? Oh.
No, I don't know. Did he send it to the group text? Because I don't remember reading it. Where he said,
I
"Meh."
asked him. I said, "Hey, man, what are your thoughts on Hagan's?" Because he was at A&M from 2013 to 2015, I think it was. Brandon said he wasn't great, he wasn't terrible. We had decent production from our defensive tackles, but our edges were vicious during his time at A&M. Well, Myles Garrett was a big part of that, right? So,
And what's the other dude?
who?
Their edge rushers were Myles Garrett, and there's one other guy.
Oh, Deshaun was it
Deshaun, yeah,
Hall?
Hall, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people saying he's a good recruiter, but my A&M people are saying he was meh as a recruiter. So I'm getting mixed.
It also might be the fact that he's coming to Texas and they're pissed off about that. I mean, there's that.
These are people though that I look at like you and myself where I'm like they're like I assume they're level headed.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not talking about typical Aggie guy on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who like. Yeah, they'll tell me, hey, I really like that coach y'all got or whatever.
Okay, that works.
You know what I mean? But some, I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews with him. I need to do a little more homework.
I mean,
when it's official, we'll make a video. But
we don't really have any say in the hires, so I mean, we'll see. I mean, if he gets hired, we'll see.
I will say though, from a recruiting perspective, again, Jay Valai. Because I think we'll see the fruits of their work in 2021.
Well, at least he has the Deshaun Hall and say, hey, I coached Deshaun Hall and also Myles Garrett.
I knew somebody was going to say level-headed Aggie.
Question mark.
I knew it. What Penn State tailback's in the portal? Noah Cain? Who's in the portal?
Noah Cain's going to be the starter.
Yeah. Who's in the portal? He said, I don't know. Look, Chris Ash, to be fair to him, he did win a national championship as the co-DC at Ohio State.
So did Charlie Strong.
Rutgers. What?
I mean, it's the truth. I mean,
touche. Oh, Slade. Slade is in the portal. Interesting.
I don't think we'd go after them.
I just think it's a college football thing that's interesting, though.
Yeah, I think if we're hitting the portal, we're hitting it for a linebacker. Don't you? Linebacker depth?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Ricky Slade's in the portal. Interesting.
Evans had a LSU uniform shared on IG. Yeah, he shares a lot of stuff. He wants people to talk about him.
I don't know where he screwed up the Georgia thing, man.
Yeah.
And Georgia ended up signing another running back.
Should
So
Sam
they
have
just
entered the
outright-
draft? No.
No.
I don't think he would have been drafted. Honestly.
I think he would have been drafted.
Really
I think he
late?
would have been a very late pick. And when you're a late pick like that, teams just aren't invested in your development. Let's just be honest. Unless injury happens, like a Dak Prescott situation, or you get to play for whatever reason for lack of performance in front of you, you're not going to get the same rope when you're such a late pick, and then that's how guys wash out of the league. Look at that guy that was from Washington State a few years ago. He had to play for the Jets when Sam Darnold got mono, and he was terrible. But they're not going to give him another shot because he was a low pick, right?
Yeah.
So and granted, the Jets have everything invested in Sam Darnold. But my point is, if you're a second or first round pick and you're terrible, you're going to get multiple opportunities to prove your worth versus being a 6th round pick.
And you get guaranteed money too. So I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, Sam had to come back, especially when you see what happened with Joe Burrow this year. I think that's going to change how quarterbacks think about things. Because if you can I'm not saying everybody's going to make a Joe Burrow leap. That's a once in a lifetime thing. But if you can come back and improve and show a high level of improvement from ball placement, from an understanding of the scheme, even Sam statistically still has room to grow in this usage offense.
To call at-line audibles too, just by reading what the defense is saying. That they look a lot at that on videotape.
That's a good question, David Vaughn. I think we could look at the portal after the spring, to be honest with you. Because we do, at this point, I think we've had some of these young guys in the program now for a couple years. Look, we have to replace a Parker Braun, but depending on what happens with guys like Tyler Johnson and some of these other folks that are on the offensive line, we know Coach Herb Hand likes to cross-train everybody.
What about a center in the transfer portal?
I think that could be. I think everything's up for possibility. I'm pretty sure they'll go Kerstetter first, but and have Denzel Okafor or there'll be a competition for that right tackle job.
Yeah, 100%.
Because Tyler Johnson, and some of the other folks that have been around the program for a little bit now, bulking up, getting stronger, that came in around 260 or whatever.
Now they're 290. Who do you think should be the starting running back?
Keontae Ingram. You have your starting running back.
Your boy from Carthage.
Did you see the brother from Carthage? Keontae Ingram. There's no doubt about what he can do. Look, I said this before. If Keontae Ingram, we were just talking about volume. If Keontae Ingram had gotten the touches that some of the other running backs in the country had gotten, he would have been around 1,400 yards.
If he was healthy, he probably would.
And health willing too. But when you saw a healthy runner against a very good Utah run defense, he shredded them. Again, a lot of people are not fans of his running style, and they're mad at him about LSU. We have to move past that. When you look at production, and I've said this many times, he led the team in touchdowns. He averaged almost 6 yards a carry. We have a very, very good running back, and it takes pressure off of Bijan. Because you need I need multiple people. Like, there were times last year when we actually committed to running the football where they both had over 10, 11, 12 carries, right? And it was, they were able to really complement each other. That's the type of thing. And Mike Yurcich wants to get to that, and we've seen that. So
I like this question. Where is it? Tua going to the draft is interesting. Wondering if he'll still go high with the hip. I still think he's a first-round draft pick. I think he'll be a later-round draft pick, and the only reason why is teams with the infrastructure there can wait a year for him to heal, because a knee takes, honestly, around 18 months to fully 100% heal, where the guy's got the mental aspect out of his head of the injury being there. I can assume that a hip's going to be 2 years. So you gotta think of the teams that have quarterbacks. 49ers. I mean, is their quarterback their quarterback? Possibly not. So what?
There's
I mean,
some questions. They invested in him, but there's some questions.
They can invest in that guy, and they can like, give him another year. Well, letting Tua learn the offense and also heal up, or a Patriots team, something like that. It's an easy investment for them.
So the question, the initial question though was, because I was reading some of the comments, was where's Tua gonna go, or
no. It's like, will he still go high with the hip? I still think he'll go high. I still think he'll be in the guaranteed money.
but they're saying he's gonna be healthy by the end of the year.
Yeah, you still want.
I know
it's a hip. It's a bad injury, man.
But I understand that, but hear me out. I don't think he's gonna go past Miami.
So you think? Oh God!
I don't think he's going past Miami because if you're
go
Miami, you have time to wait. You can do a whole nother year.
You guys suck.
Fitzpatrick. You can do the Fitzpatrick thing again and basically give him a redshirt year, right? We see people do this in basketball, right? Or people just give him. Everybody gets a redshirt year now. You know what I mean? To heal up, get your shit together, fine. But with my point with Tua is, we keep saying, what if the hip's not right? What if the hip is okay?
Okay.
You get an amazing quarterback.
Yeah, you get a great quarterback.
So I feel like I can sell that to my fan base. Like we're taking a risk here at 5. However, this kid can be as good as anybody.
Yeah.
Tua, when healthy, was right there with Joe. Mm-hmm. Right there.
Mm-hmm. No,
and Tua's done it longer.
And that's why I think that he needed to go to the draft, especially after an injury like this.
Yeah.
I mean, so I agreed with everything that he did. Go to the draft, make sure you get right. Hopefully he gets drafted by a team that he likes and gives him the chance to actually heal. Because, man, the hit may be right, okay, but
I don't think he's going past Miami.
Okay.
And I would not be surprised, because here's the other thing we didn't talk about with the draft. And I love draft talk, by the way. When he gets in the room in Indianapolis, because he's not going to work out. But when he gets in the room and these teams start to interview him, what happens, Tran? They start to fall in love with people. They're like, you know what? There's a GM. There's somebody in the room that's like, oh, we need to go get this kid.
Yeah, this kid's got his head on right.
Right. So we cannot count out any of that, right? So very, very important. When it's not just about what you see in workouts, throwing the football. A lot of it will be board work, his personality. Nick Saban, I've never seen Nick Saban give any player the freedom communicating with the media to be themselves than he did with Tua. I know it's a tough gamble, but look, man, I will say this too. With the rookie scale, it's not as big as a gamble as it used to be when people were getting Sam Bradford money. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when Sam Bradford went number 1?
Signed for 68.
Yeah. So it is a risk, but it's not the same level of risk that it used to be with the money.
Cowboys fans wanting the draft.
Jalen getting drafted. Jalen will get drafted. The question is Jalen willing to be Taysom Hill? Mm-hmm.
Once the Cowboys, I wish we got a D end. I mean, a D tackle.
Yeah.
It's just a beast.
So if I'm I would like Javon Kinlaw.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked what I saw from him at the Senior Bowl. So. Ruggs is going to be in the conversation. My thing is, when I think team, again, this is all pre-combine. When Ruggs gets to Indianapolis and runs 4.23, because what's-his-face already put this out there. I don't know if anybody heard Chris Johnson. You remember CJ2K? Mm-hmm. He came out and said, I already know that they're going to he thinks it's a conspiracy about the 40.
I love it though.
He
I
thinks it's a
love it.
conspiracy because he's like, I already know that they want to sell shoes and they want to have they basically want to have a Tyreek Hill that's not with no off the field problems. And he's like, it's gonna be rugs. They're because he's convinced. He said that because he's convinced the brother from Washington, what was his name? That went
Ross?
to the Bengals. John Ross?
Yeah, Ross.
Yeah, he was like, if you put
He
their
does have a
40s.
point, though.
He was like, if you put our 40s side to side, he didn't beat me.
But the funny thing is, he goes, when they have the 40s, they have it usually like that. This one, they went to commercial break.
Yeah,
and
he said
then
they went to
4 minutes
commercial
later,
break.
they finally have a 40 time for him. I mean, that's the funny thing.
I appreciate the love, guys. We'll go for a couple more minutes here because I don't got to drive back in the icy conditions of Austin, Texas.
The blizzard.
Somebody brought up.
2020.
I'm trying to go back. Somebody brought up Hullaby earlier, and I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on it because he's another guy who's very, very underrated in this class, according to the prognosticators. Where do you guys see him playing? Because I've been hearing things about him potentially moving over to linebacker. Right now, he is listed as an athlete. He's played all over the place. So just really curious to see where y'all think Hullaby's going to play. Who said big boy 40s are the best? That's cruel.
Hey man, some of them. What was
This
Dontari Poe?
Dontari Poe, yeah, he ran like 4.92.
Yeah, it's almost like a 4.8.
340.
Yeah, so I mean, I love watching that. Like that's pretty impressive for some of that size.
What's up, Gabe? Sorry we're on so late.
Herman should be on the hot seat.
You just gotta win, man.
I mean, I think he needs to be at least in the Big 12 championship.
Shout out to Jerome Hayes for subscribing. Welcome. It's a blizzard in Dripping Springs. I didn't know Preston was out there in Dripping Springs.
He's like, no, I'm not. He's like,
No, I'm not.
I'm not.
Franklin Slaughter earlier. I don't know if Franklin's still with us. I appreciate the questions. Tracy Williams said, y'all need any bourbon. I'm a Bullet guy, so.
4.7 as a left tackle.
I'm always down for some good bourbon, Tracy. Franklin Slaughter did say, who are the next Colin Johnson for 2020? And do you think the Longhorns will be top 5 or 10? I mean, I'm hoping we end up in, somewhere around that neck of the woods where we complete for the playoffs. But from a Colin Johnson perspective, a lot of people on the staff, they were trying to make it happen with Malcolm Epps. I hope to see him move to more of a flex tight end type of role, similar to how we utilized Jermichael Finley many moons ago. I'm looking at, and I brought his name up earlier, Brennan Eagles. Can he be our go-to guy on the outside, matchup nightmare? We saw the productivity as a playmaker, right? Big plays. I call him Baby Dez because I like his run after catch ability. And I do think he tracks the ball well in the air, and he's made some really, really athletic plays and catches, and the consistency though.
Yeah.
That's where it's got to be. Hands.
Lose the drops.
He had some drops,
yeah,
right?
Lose the drops.
And so
Because physical, because he's a physical.
he's a
receiver.
physical specimen. Now I will say this with Brennan Eagles. The thing I like about him is he got a lot better from his freshman year to his sophomore year. I need to see that same uptick. Right? And I will say this with wide receivers. This is a personal theory I have. Somebody can shoot this down if they want to. I think wide receivers play better when they know they need to be counted on. Most guys. Not all of them. But guys like Brennan, like Devin Duvernay, for example. The productivity he just never got the opportunities. Now, granted, he was a different animal because anything that was thrown his way, he caught it. However, I noticed his swagger and energy for the game increased when he knew I'm going to get targeted 15 times every week. Same thing with little Jordan Humphrey the year before. Coming in when he knew, well, shit.
Oh, this is coming to me.
It's coming to me.
This is coming to me.
Right? Like, it allows you to
put
get
forth more of an effort, especially if your number's called more often.
Yeah.
It makes you focused a little bit more and makes you want to make those plays. Because if you start not making those plays, they're not going to call your number.
Okay. So he said Jalen was recruited as a lineman. I think it sounds like we might start him out on defense. So I'm curious to see how that checks out. I appreciate y'all answering my question.
I thought Warren backed up Foreman.
Yeah, when he and then he got hurt. Remember, Chris Warren got hurt.
Yeah, but I thought he backed him up, not Porter.
Well, they both did, but it was after Warren got hurt. I think Marcus Washington will be has the potential to be the other starter opposite Brennan Eagles on the outside. There were some other things I wanted to get to here. Oh, Colin. So a lot of people asking about Colin and Devin draft-wise. They both had very good weeks at the Senior Bowl. Here's the problem. A lot of wide receivers had a really good week at the Senior Bowl, right? And this year's draft, look at the names we've been talking about just in the first round. Now, the one where there may be some questions is Jerry Jeudy because there's some people concerned about him being knock-kneed. But other than that, like when you look at the route running ability and the separation Jerry Jeudy gets and his football IQ, home run. Mm-hmm. Henry Ruggs, we just talked about the conspiracy theory of him being not conspiracy theory, but like we know he's going to be fast. Around 4.25, but they're talking about Jerry Jeudy made the comment if he doesn't slip at his start, he could potentially break 4.2. So you got Ruggs in there. I mean, you have the wide receiver group for this. I mean, let me actually bring up a list because you even have the brother from the guy from Notre Dame, Claypool, who's like 6'6". The wide receiver from Brandon Ayuk from Arizona State.
What about SMU?
Proche. Yeah. So KJ Hill is gonna go on like the 5th or 6th round from Ohio State, and he's
fantastic.
Good. So I say all that to say, Colin and Devin. My thing with Devin is the quickness, the short area quickness and all that. Because when I'm starting, I had to take my Texas glasses off for a second and say, why do they still have Jalen Reagor over him, right? And some of these other guys. But when they break it down, one of the issues that Devin does have is separation. He made a lot of contested catches, but he didn't always separate. Right, and we did have some issues where he would either stop on a route or something like that underneath. His straight speed, check. Hands, check. Strength, check. Run after catch, check. Attitude, check. Like he has a lot of positives, right? More than Colin, I would say. Yeah, in my opinion,
I do. Depending on the offense that he's in, I think we've said that he's
tracking going to make the ball is a check.
He's going to make some quarterback happy.
I just think that they believe that when I say they, I'm talking about some of the NFL scouts. They believe, hey, if you're going to play slot, we need you to get that Julian Edelman type of separation. And we don't see that from you all the time. Those are things he can develop and work on. To me, a lot of that stuff also translate in terms of your hips. Like, they think he's stiff.
He's not, though.
They think he's stiff. I will say this, though. As a kick returner, he struggled.
So what's a good speed for him to run in
somewhere in the 4.3s.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the 4.3s. And for somebody just brought up Devin and the 49ers, that's kind of what, if I'm Devin Duvernay, what I'm trying to sell the league. I can be your Deebo Samuel next year. When you look at how he was used this year and the weapon that he became for a team that made it to the Super Bowl, if you're Devin Duvernay, you can say, I'm built like that. I can do all, that type of stuff. So now, Deebo was an elite return guy.
Your biggest thing was that he made a lot of contested catches. The thing that I'm going to, I guess, dispute you with is the fact that he made those catches.
Right.
And his drop rate was so low. And, I mean,
But they want to see separation in the NFL.
Yeah. But he could also be a possession receiver where, hey, you move the sticks, you get paid. So
I know Alex Okafor played, and Marquise Goodwin is injured, so he technically didn't play. Yeah, Debo's quickness is elite. What else are we? Colin, we already know what that the questions are. It's the injury stuff. Mm-hmm. there's a place for Colin in the NFL. They like big receivers, especially the good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They know how to back shoulder, and Colin's a master at that. I think for him, the release stuff, being consistent with his strength and release, I think as a blocker, he improved at Texas. He still could do more with his size. And his hands are good.
And you can't train that catch radius too.
No, you cannot train that.
Because you could basically be like, hey, I'm gonna either throw it away or throw it away, or he's gonna catch it, type of thing. Like I'm gonna throw it just enough to be out of bounds, but let him reach it.
CeeDee Lamb, yeah. Thanks for CeeDee Lamb, Laviska Shenault, who the brother from Colorado, who's tough, man.
Denzel Mims.
T. Higgins is in the draft. When there's people talking about T. Higgins might go late first, and I'm like, I watched the guy play. I'm like, other years he'd be bona fide number one receiver. Write it down. Turn in the card.
He even comes back from concussions.
You went there with.
I mean, come on now. He definitely had a concussion, and then all of a sudden he's back in the game. Calling to the Saints.
Yeah, it's this why Denzel Mims. We forgot about him. Denzel Mims. He had an opportunity to make a really big play in the Senior Bowl from Jordan Love. I don't know if he lost the ball in the sun or whatever.
Well, to tell you the truth, the last two games that he played, it wasn't impressive.
He struggled.
He had zero catches in the OU game. Mm-hmm. And then I think he had zero catches all the way to the third quarter.
And then he started going off in the Georgia game in the second half. But
yeah, he had that one drive where they went down for the touchdown.
But I will say with Denzel Mims, they said he had great
the LSU receivers too. We completely forgot about them.
We forgot about Marshall and Chase aren't eligible.
Oh yeah, Chase.
But Jefferson being in the draft is huge because some people can make the argument he might be the most
Moss is a
talented
tight end, but
Moss,
he's still
I agree.
Yeah.
But Jefferson, with his football IQ and his productivity and his competitiveness, could potentially be a slot candidate in the NFL right off the bat.
Yes.
For somebody.
Yes. Charlie Brewer didn't go out to the fourth quarter, middle of the fourth quarter.
I just wanted to say that Charlie Strong is at Florida now as an analyst. I don't know if you heard about that. I was laughing so hard when you brought up Charlie Strong the first time.
I didn't bring him up multiple times. Just one time.
You brought him up the first time.
Yeah.
Donovan Peoples-Jones is in the draft too. I forgot. Yeah, from Michigan. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is a pretty loaded draft.
Yeah, KJ Hamler's gonna run 4.3 something, no doubt. Oh my goodness. So I since the draft stuff is fun, man, because this year, like if you're an NFL team and you got to get one of these guys, and there's like I said, you can have big, you can have the shifty guys,
fast,
whatever you want, right? Possession receivers. I've been busy all day, so I haven't seen if Tom Herman did anything. Tyler Johnson from Minnesota. Y'all just keep bringing it. This receiver class is the best I've ever seen. Let's see. What else are we... Charlie Brewer needs to retire from football. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
All right. Let's wrap up here. 5 more minutes, guys.
What does Dev run? Probably mid 4.3s. Johnson, I forgot about him.
Snowing in ATX. I know we this is a hard shift, but Van Jefferson, I like him, and his dad was Sean Jefferson. They used to play for the Patriots. Van Jefferson actually gave Stingley work. I know we have some LSU people in here. You can lie to yourselves, but don't lie to me.
The dude
number 80 from Florida.
Yeah, from Florida.
Yeah. I think we were watching that game here. Yeah, he was giving. That was the only dude I saw consistently giving Sting work this year. So, very very interesting.
Take it easy, Vaughn.
All
Baby
right,
Vaughn.
yeah, we're gonna wrap up here. Real quick, Tran, totally switching gears. Kobe dying last week. We had been we talked that whole week and didn't really talk about sports. I think that's in our relationship.
Yeah.
And I know with you being a father and a father of a daughter as well, and that whole thing. Just wanted to get your quick thoughts because I know you didn't get a chance to.
Twitter for about, I don't know, 36 hours was really depressing to me because all I'd see were videos of him playing basketball with his daughter, and I legitimately had to shut it off. All I kept thinking of was, I couldn't think. I know he wasn't fearing for his life, but just seeing his daughter probably next to him, and knowing that he couldn't do anything about it, even if that split second that something bad's about to happen, probably felt like an eternity for him, and I just don't want to imagine that. It's really painful just to see a family go through that. It's a broken family now. Yes, they're a very wealthy family, and a lot of people have compared it to the New Age Princess Di because it was a tragic event that happened to a high profile character, and it's very similar because I was alive when the Princess Di thing happened, and I know how crazy the media was then, but I actually didn't believe it to tell you the truth when we started texting each other back and forth. I was like, is this legit?
Yeah, we were trying to confirm, and I was in Dallas during that time, and it was. I'm still in disbelief as a fan, and we've been watching. The Spurs played the Lakers the other night, and our poor Spurs. But even our Spurs group chat that we have with our other friends, and just I think all you guys have almost except for me, and I think except for me, all you guys have daughters. In that group.
Like Griff doesn't.
Oh yeah,
Griff has two sons.
Two sons. Yeah. But I'm the only one that's not a parent. Everybody else is a parent in there.
He's like a parent to my kids when they're here.
So,
I go, Steven!
Nah, I just wanted to I appreciate you sharing that. And
it's sad, and it'll always be a sad situation because so many people were affected.
Impacted by
not just Kobe's family, but there was 3 other families that were affected. Yeah, so
and it's tough. I mean, 3 little girls passed away in that crash. So, guys, tomorrow's never promised for sure, and that's I know we're here very very late at night, and a lot of stuff going on, but I'm very very thankful for our UT family. I know anytime we have anything going on, you guys always are stepping up and being very very supportive of what we do here, and many of you we've never even met. Right, so tomorrow's definitely not promised. So I've said we have to have a greater sense of urgency just in everything we do and how we love and care about one another. That's why I don't really try to get engaged in too much negativity anymore, man. It's not worth it.
It's not.
We try to cover this team. We have fun talking about this. I'm very very excited for this class coming in. I'm excited for the 8 early enrollees that are on campus, already getting their weight room in, getting acclimated, and the other 11 that will follow in the summertime, and just seeing them develop and seeing them represent Texas and accomplish their own goals as well as the team goals to win. So
thank you, Preston.
Yeah. Preston, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Franklin, we don't. Well, my brother has T-ring tickets, and we usually use those. So technically, I guess you could say we have season tickets. I don't know. My brother doesn't go, so he gives them to us.
All right. Well, I'm gonna turn off the chat now, guys. Preston, thank you again.
Yes.
And all you guys.
Thank you for the 200 something people that joined in.
Absolutely,
awesome.
absolutely. Everybody's
12
excited for
o'clock
this.
at night.
I know, man. I know. Well, y'all get some rest. We'll be back at it with more stuff, and probably the next one will be the Mark Hagan video, and we'll have a